Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive, on pre-birth planning. We're going to be talking about a really interesting YouTube interview with Robert Schwartz, author of Your Soul's Plan and Your Soul's Gift.
Okay.
And it's talking with Trisha Barker, who had a near-death experience and pre-birth planning. It's basically this idea that before we are born, our souls kind of map out potential life experiences for, learning and growth.
Right.
We're going to unpack some pretty big questions today, like what if some of our toughest challenges were actually, chosen by us before birth?
Right.
And if so, does that change how we think about free will or even suffering,
Well, I think what's fascinating here is that Schwartz's research is suggesting that we might be actively participating in creating our own reality.
Yeah.
And, maybe even choosing those obstacles that ultimately help us evolve.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea of pre-birth planning a little bit. Schwartz doesn't see karma as like cosmic punishment, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, he sees it more like unfinished business from past lives, a feeling of incompletion that our soul seeks to resolve.
He gives this compelling example of two souls. Maybe one was a caregiver, the other a patient in a past life. And they might choose to reverse roles in a future life, kind of find that balance and that completion. It's like they're working through a complex emotional equation together.
Right.
All right.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Both Schwartz and Barker suggest that recognizing your divine nature, that spark of something greater within you, can lead to instant karma release. Like suddenly that feeling of burden or incompletion just lifts.
Barker describes this feeling after her near-death experience as transcending a past life goal, like a breakthrough into uncharted territory.
Yeah.
So if we're supposedly planning these lives before we're born, where does free will fit in?
Oh, absolutely.
Does it even get a say?
It plays a huge role. Think of it this way. Life plans are more like potentials and probabilities, not a fixed script. It's like choosing a destination for a road trip. You have a route in mind, but you can always take detours,
Sure.
explore side roads, or even change your destination completely based on what you discover along the way.
So it's not like our destiny is set in stone.
Not at all. Schwartz actually points out that there are very few certainties in a life plan. Choosing your parents, for example, is a fixed point.
Okay.
Once you're born, or if you plan a handicap that can't be treated by medical science,
Right.
that's likely to stay with you. But most other events are more fluid, subject to change based on the choices we make.
That's actually really empowering. So you're saying we might be able to avoid planned challenges entirely if we make choices that lead to the intended growth.
Precisely. It's like if you plan to learn patience through a difficult job but discovered another way to cultivate patience, maybe through a challenging hobby or a relationship, that job might suddenly lose its appeal or a better opportunity might present itself,
Yeah, that makes sense. So how does Schwartz gather information about these pre-birth plans? Like, how does he even get this information?
He works with a group of mediums and channels,
Well,
and each one has a unique way of accessing information about the soul's journey. Some can hear pre-birth conversations
wow.
between souls as they're discussing their plans with future loved ones, even potential enemies.
Hold on. So he's basically eavesdropping on souls, like hashing out their life plans before they're even born.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Some mediums communicate with those who have passed on, gaining insights from their experiences. Others channel individuals' higher selves or beings like angels and ascended masters
Wow.
who can access the Akashic records. Think of it like the universe's giant library of experiences.
That sounds like the ultimate research project. Now, the interview dives into some, pretty heady topics like suicide. It can be a really sensitive subject, but Schwartz brings a unique perspective to it.
Yeah, one medium channels Jesus.
Okay.
And through him, Schwartz learned that suicide is often planned as a possibility or a probability, but never a certainty.
Okay.
The choice always remains. For example, the medium shared the story of a young man who planned a life with severe depression and anxiety to heal past trauma, knowing that suicide was a likely outcome.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah.
But what really struck me was the message that every suicide preventable by outside forces was prevented.
Right.
It offers a lot of solace to those who've lost loved ones this way, doesn't it?
It does. It challenges the idea of blame and suggests that if there was even the slightest chance of intervention, the universe in a way would have stepped in.
Right.
It doesn't diminish the pain, but it reframes the idea of responsibility in those situations.
It's interesting because Barker actually had a suicide attempt before her near-death experience, and she describes seeing those choices she had during her life review, those opportunities to reach out, to seek help.
Right. It highlights the interconnectedness of it all. Sometimes even a simple act of reaching out can have a ripple effect of, potentially altering someone's path.
So if we're choosing these challenges before we're born, what about mental illness? Why would someone choose to experience something like borderline personality disorder or even psychosis?
Well, Schwartz suggests several reasons based on what the mediums revealed. One is this idea of deepening compassion.
Okay.
He uses his own experience of growing up in an abusive family as an example, understanding it as a way to experience the opposite of compassion so that he could cultivate it within himself.
So it's like facing the darkness to appreciate the light even more.
Exactly. It's a powerful concept. Another reason for choosing mental illness might be service. There's this incredible story about a woman who experienced psychosis where her nightmares bled into her waking life.
Oh, wow.
And through the mediums, they learned that she was actually processing unhealed energies for her parallel selves in other dimensions.
Wait, so she's basically taking on the burden of healing for multiple versions of herself.
That's the idea. It reframes mental illness as a form of selfless service rather than something to be ashamed of or feared.
That's mind-blowing. It completely changes the narrative around those conditions.
It does, and it speaks to the interconnectedness of all things, not just between people, but perhaps across dimensions as well.
Okay, so we have this idea that souls are choosing these challenging experiences for growth and healing or service.
Right.
But what if we don't learn the intended lessons? Do we just get stuck in a loop, repeating the same patterns over and over?
Well, that's where the concept of the cosmic 2x4 comes in.
Okay.
Think of it like the universe gently nudging you at first.
Okay.
But if you don't get the message, the nudges become more like a whack over the head.
So those recurring challenges, those patterns that keep popping up in our lives, they're not just bad luck.
They could be the universe's way of saying, hey, pay attention. There's something important to learn here.
Okay.
And Schwartz suggests that understanding that you plan these challenges can pull you out of feeling like a victim and put you back in the driver's seat.
It ties into the concept of victim consciousness, right?
Absolutely. Victim consciousness is like getting trapped in a negative feedback loop.
Hmm.
You believe you're a victim, so you vibrate at the frequency of victimhood, attracting more experiences that seem to confirm that belief. It's a self-perpetuating cycle.
But if we plan these challenges, it means we're not just at the mercy of fate. We have the power to change our experiences, to shift our perspective.
Exactly. And it all comes down to choice.
All right, so let's say we plan these challenges. Maybe we're even starting to understand the reasons behind them.
Right.
But how do we heal from past trauma? How do we actually move through that pain?
Well, there's that old saying, in order to heal it, you have to feel it. And for a long time, the emphasis was on immersing yourself in the pain, really going deep into those emotions. But Jesus, as channeled by one of the mediums, offers a different perspective.
Okay, what does he suggest?
Instead of actively trying to dredge up the pain, he emphasizes mindfulness and observation. Simply observe those emotions as they arise without judgment. The act of observation itself can help dissipate their energy.
So it's not about like wallowing in the negativity.
Right.
It's about becoming a witness to our own experience.
Exactly. It's about allowing those emotions to flow through you without getting swept away by them.
Okay.
And Barker, who went through stages of grief even after her near-death experience, now finds quicker release through mindfulness and connecting with her own inner power.
It's like she's tapped into a source of strength that allows her to process those emotions more efficiently.
Right.
One theme that keeps coming up is service. Schwartz has found that it's present in every pre-birth plan he's ever examined. Why do you think that is?
Well, the idea of oneness consciousness suggests that we're all interconnected, like threads in a giant tapestry.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then helping others is essentially helping ourselves. It's a natural expression of that interconnectedness.
And when you think about it, most of us feel most fulfilled when we're helping others, even in small ways, Those random acts of kindness, those moments when you feel a deep sense of purpose in your work.
Exactly. Those could be glimpses of our soul's plan in action. Now, Schwartz himself made a pretty dramatic shift, leaving the corporate world to pursue his current work.
Do you think that was guided too?
He believes so. He started getting really interested in near-death experiences seemingly out of nowhere. Looking back, he believes his guides were nudging him towards that path, which ultimately led him to where he is now.
It's like when a book or a video seems to fall into your lap at the perfect time.
Precisely. Those could be synchronicities orchestrated by our guides, leading us towards our soul's purpose.
Barker had a similar experience with her YouTube channel. She felt this strong, intuitive push to share her near-death experience. And look at the impact it's had.
Yeah.
How many people have been touched by her story?
It's amazing to think about. Now, this whole concept of pre-birth planning really makes you think about how we judge others.
Right.
If we're all choosing these challenging experiences, who are we to judge anyone for their choices?
Schwartz makes such a good point about that. He says we can never truly know the full context of someone's life,
Right.
let alone their soul plan. He shares this incredible story about Edgar Cayce, the renowned psychic medium,
Yeah.
who was approached by two wealthy sisters concerned about their homeless brother.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this one.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Cayce revealed that the brother was a highly evolved soul, intentionally living that way to help his sisters develop compassion.
It completely changes the narrative. The person we might judge as a failure could be undertaking a difficult, even selfless task for the benefit of others.
It's a powerful reminder to check our judgments. So if these challenges are opportunities for growth and learning, what are we ultimately choosing between in those difficult moments?
Schwartz suggests that crises are often designed to present us with a choice between love and fear, or between the ego's response and the soul's response.
Okay.
And those moments can trigger a remembrance of our true nature,
Yeah.
which is love.
It's like those times when you're faced with a tough decision and you feel the pull of fear versus the pull of compassion. It makes you think about all the choices we make in life. And Barker's story about communicating with her deceased father really brought that home.
Oh, what did he say?
He described reviewing his life choices in the afterlife, almost like watching a film of his own life. It wasn't about judgment, but more about observing the ripple effect of those choices.
That's fascinating. It invites us to consider our choices more mindfully, not out of fear or pressure, but out of a deeper awareness of their potential impact.
Exactly. And that brings us to the idea of between lives, soul regression, or LBL,
Okay.
which is a way to actually access information about your soul plan.
Oh, tell me more about that. What is LBL exactly? It's a guided hypnotic process where you can actually access memories from between lives, like taking a journey into the soul's archives. You might visit a past life, connect with your guides, and even meet the Council of Elders, these wise beings who oversee reincarnation.
The Council of Elders. What are they like?
They're described as incredibly loving and wise beings with a deep understanding of your soul's journey. And here's the amazing part. They can answer any question you have about your life and soul plan.
So you could ask them anything like, why did I choose this career path? What's the purpose of this relationship? Why do I keep running into the same problems?
Exactly. And the answers can be incredibly illuminating. They can lead to profound understanding, forgiveness, gratitude, and healing.
It sounds like it could help you see challenges in a new light, maybe even appreciate them as opportunities for growth instead of feeling like a victim of circumstance.
That's the idea. It's about reclaiming your power, recognizing that you're a co-creator of your own reality. Schwartz tells a story about a young woman named Penelope who was born deaf. And through a medium, they discovered that in a past life, she had witnessed her mother's murder, and the trauma was so intense that she chose deafness in this life to prevent a similar experience.
It's a stark reminder that what we perceive as limitations might actually be protective mechanisms, choices made out of love and wisdom by our souls.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what seemingly negative experiences in our own lives might actually be serving a higher purpose.
It certainly does, and it speaks to the importance of trusting the journey even when it's difficult. Speaking of difficult experiences, let's talk about abusive relationships. Why would someone choose to be in a situation like that, either as the abuser or the abused?
That's a tough one. It's hard to imagine choosing to experience that kind of pain.
Schwartz, who himself grew up in an abusive family, suggests a few possible reasons. One is that deep desire for compassion. Remember the concept of learning through opposites.
Right.
By experiencing the absence of compassion, we're driven to develop it within ourselves, which can then overflow into acts of service towards others.
It's almost like we're choosing to walk through fire, to forge our souls into something stronger and more resilient. But what about someone like Barker, who was sexually assaulted after her near-death experience? You'd think that after such a profound spiritual awakening, she'd be protected from that kind of trauma.
It's a reminder that even after profound spiritual shifts, we're still human, still vulnerable to the challenges of this world. But even those experiences can be transformative. Barker's assault led her to connect with other survivors and raise awareness about the issue.
It challenges our assumptions about suffering. What if those who seem to struggle the most are actually undertaking some of the most courageous tasks, pushing the boundaries of human experience for the benefit of all.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it? It invites us to approach others with a greater sense of compassion and curiosity, recognizing that we can never truly know the depths of their journey. Speaking of compassion, you mentioned that exploring pre-birth planning can help with forgiveness. Can you expand on that a bit?
Well, if you understand that challenging experiences are often chosen for growth, and learning it becomes easier to let go of anger and resentment, you start to see those who have hurt you, including yourself, through a more compassionate lens. It's like that saying, hurt people hurt people. If we can recognize the pain behind those hurtful actions, it becomes easier to forgive.
And forgiveness doesn't mean condoning the behavior. It simply means releasing the energetic burden of that experience so you can move forward with greater peace and clarity.
Forgiving ourselves is crucial too. Those times when we've made choices we regret or haven't lived up to our own expectations could weigh heavily on us. But if we can see those experiences as opportunities for learning, it becomes easier to offer ourselves compassion.
Absolutely. Self-forgiveness is essential for healing and growth. Now going back to those moments of choice where we're faced with the decision to act from love or fear, Schwartz emphasizes the importance of asking for help from our guides.
He said the first message he received from his guides was, you have to ask.
It's like they're waiting for us to reach out to acknowledge their presence and invite their wisdom into our lives. They can't interfere without our permission, but once we ask, they're there to offer support and guidance.
How do we ask?
It can be as simple as setting an intention, saying a prayer, or simply having a conversation with them in your mind. The key is to be open to receiving their guidance, which might come through intuition, synchronicities, dreams, or even other people.
It's like tuning into a different frequency, opening ourselves to a world beyond our everyday perceptions. And the more we practice connecting with our guides, the more attuned we become to their presence and their wisdom. Now, Schwartz's research also touches upon miscarriages and abortions, two very sensitive topics.
Yes, and his findings might be challenging for some to hear based on what the medium shared. He suggests that both miscarriages and abortions are planned before birth through mutual agreement by all the souls involved.
I can see how that could be difficult to accept, especially for those who have experienced the pain of those situations.
Absolutely. It's a complex and sensitive topic, and it's important to approach it with compassion and understanding. Schwartz acknowledges that this perspective might resonate more with those who view the soul as eternal and indestructible, for those who believe that a soul can be killed. This idea might be deeply unsettling.
It's interesting. Barker actually had a miscarriage, and she felt that the soul of that child was simply there to love her for a short time, to shift her energy and help her reconnect with her own childlike nature.
It speaks to the multifaceted nature of these experiences. There might be multiple layers of meaning and purpose at play, and ultimately it's up to each individual to find their own way of making sense of these challenging situations. But what's fascinating is that some astrologers believe our soul's blueprint might be encoded in our birth charts. They're looking for indications of pre-planned experiences, like near-death experiences, by studying the positions of the planets and stars at the moment of birth.
That's intriguing. It's like our soul's journey is written in the stars. Barker actually had a few astrologers look at her chart, and they all found indications that her near-death experience was a pre-planned part of her soul's journey. And Schwartz offered a simple way to figure out if you planned a particular experience before you were born.
Oh, what was that?
He said, if you are wondering whether or not you planned it before you were born, you almost certainly did. It's like those nagging questions, those experiences that keep replaying in our minds, might be clues to our soul's plan.
It's definitely something to pay attention to. So what's Schwartz exploring now? What's next for him?
He's turning his attention to relationships. He's fascinated by all types of relationships and how they contribute to our soul's evolution.
That makes sense. Relationships are such a central part of the human experience, a source of both immense joy and profound challenge.
Exactly. And Barker actually shared a story about a friend who passed away recently, a friend who was very connected to his own soul's purpose. He told her he was going to die before her and that he'd be working with her from the other side.
It's amazing how some people seem to have such a clear understanding of their life's trajectory, almost like they've glimpsed the script before the play begins.
Schwartz has spoken to people who seem to know how much time they have left, almost with a sense of certainty. It suggests a level of awareness that transcends our typical linear perception of time.
It's like they're tapping into a deeper knowing that guides them through their earthly journey. And it's not about becoming fixated on our death date, but about living each moment with intention and purpose, recognizing that our time here is precious. This deep dive has been eye-opening, the idea that we might actively participate in the creation of our own reality, Maybe even choosing the obstacles that help us evolve is both empowering and humbling.
It encourages a shift from feeling like a victim to recognizing that we're co-creators of our own experiences, and maybe those seemingly negative experiences are actually gifts in disguise, opportunities for growth and deeper understanding.
It's a perspective that can transform not only our own lives, but also how we interact with the world. Speaking of transformation, Barker experienced a profound healing in the presence of Jesus after her near-death experience. A healing, she says, is hard to put into words.
Remember, the medium Schwartz works with, who channels Jesus Barker, says that the love and wisdom conveyed through him is unlike anything she's ever encountered.
It speaks to the power of those higher frequencies, the transformative energy that becomes available when we open ourselves to different realms of consciousness.
It's like tuning into a radio station that broadcasts love, wisdom, and healing. This deep dive has definitely given us a lot to ponder. It challenges our assumptions about life, death, and everything in between.
It invites us to step outside the confines of our limited perceptions and embrace a more expansive view of reality, one that recognizes the interconnectedness of all things and the infinite potential that resides within each of us. All right, it's time to wrap things up for today, but before we do, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. If you could access information about your own soul plan, what specific area of your life would you be most curious to understand?
That's a great question. I think I'd want to understand the patterns in my relationships. Why do I keep attracting certain types of people into my life? What are the lessons I'm meant to learn through those connections?
Those are great questions, and it makes you wonder if those recurring patterns might be clues to our soul's plan opportunities to heal old wounds, develop greater compassion, and deepen our understanding of love.
It's something I'm going to be pondering for a while, and I encourage all of you listening to do the same. What area of your life would you be most curious to understand from a soul-level perspective? Maybe exploring this concept of pre-birth planning will offer some valuable insights and a deeper sense of purpose in your own life.
There's so much we don't know about the mysteries of the soul and the workings of the universe. But by asking questions, seeking guidance, and remaining open to new perspectives, we can gradually unveil those mysteries and discover the hidden beauty within each of us.
And maybe we'll even uncover the blueprint for our own soul's journey, the intricate map that guides us towards our highest potential.
It's an exciting journey full of twists and turns, unexpected challenges, and moments of profound grace. And it's a journey we're all undertaking together, interconnected in ways we're only beginning to understand. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to learn more about this pre-birth planning thing. It's definitely shifted my perspective.
Me too. It's a perspective that can transform our lives and our interactions with the world.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Remember, the journey continues even after the podcast ends. Keep asking questions, seeking answers, and embracing the mystery of your own soul's unfolding.
Until next time, may your journey be filled with love, wisdom, and the courage to embrace the fullness of your being.
It really makes you think about the bigger picture, you know? Why are we even here?
If we're choosing these experiences, these challenges, what's the ultimate point? What's the grand scheme of it all?
That is the million-dollar question right now. Schwartz doesn't claim to have all the answers, but based on his research and what he's learned from the mediums, he offers some intriguing possibilities. One idea is that we're here to experience the full range of human emotions, the highs and lows, the light and the shadow.
So it's not about avoiding the bad stuff. It's about embracing the entire human experience, the joy and the sorrow.
That's the idea. It's we're here to taste the full banquet of life, to savor every flavor from the sweet to the bitter. And perhaps through those contrasting experiences, we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
It reminds me of that quote, "The wound is the place where the light enters." Maybe those painful experiences, those challenges, are actually cracks in our armor that allow a deeper awareness and compassion to come through.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. Maybe those moments of darkness and despair are actually catalysts for our greatest growth and evolution.
And what about the people who have had near-death experiences? They often talk about this profound sense of peace and connection that they feel after their experience. Barker describes feeling a lightness and a love that she'd never known before.
It's like those near-death experiences offer a glimpse of our true nature, that spark of the divine that resides within each of us. And that glimpse can be transformative. It can ignite a deeper yearning for connection, compassion, a desire to serve something greater than ourselves.
Maybe that's the ultimate goal of it all, to remember who we truly are, to reconnect with that divine essence within, and then to express that love and compassion in the world. It's certainly a lot to contemplate.
It is.
If you could choose one area of your life to get more insight on from a soul level, what would it be?
That's a great question to consider. What comes to mind for you?
I think for me, it would be my relationships. I'd want to understand those recurring patterns, why I keep attracting certain types of people into my life and what I'm supposed to learn from those connections.
Those are great questions, and it makes you wonder maybe those recurring patterns are clues to our soul's plan, opportunities to heal old wounds, develop greater compassion, and deepen our understanding of love.
Well, this has certainly given us a lot to think about. It's a perspective that challenges our assumptions about life, death, and everything in between. It really encourages us to keep asking questions and seeking answers.
There's so much we don't know about the mysteries of the soul and the universe. But by exploring these concepts, by seeking guidance, and by remaining open to new perspectives, we can discover the hidden beauty within ourselves and within the world around us, and perhaps even uncover a roadmap for our own soul's journey.
This deep dive has definitely opened my eyes to a whole new way of looking at things. It's empowering to think that we might have more control over our experiences than we realize.
It's an exciting journey full of twists and turns, but ultimately it's a journey we're all taking together, connected in ways we're only beginning to understand.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Remember, the journey continues even after this deep dive ends. Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep embracing the mystery of your own soul's unfolding.
Until next time, may your journey be filled with love, wisdom, and the courage to embrace the fullness of your being.